Hi, my name is Tim Lucas from MyMortgageInsider.com. Today, I'm back with Tom Pessimir, a senior mortgage advisor with Mortgage Advisory Group in Bellevue. Last time we talked about first-time home buyers and the financial aspects of what first-time home buyers can expect. And this time we're going to talk about the pre-qualification process. So my first question would be, when a first-time home buyer should get pre-qualified. Is it before they start looking for a house, after they've done some online searches, or is it after they've gone out with a real estate agent and actually found a real home they want?
That's a great question, Tim. And I really would kind of go back to, the real estate agents that I work with, and most of the real professional real estate agents are going to tell their clients, really before we go out and start kicking tires, let's really have a good look at your financial information. And as a licensed loan originator, the client's privacy is really important too. So I've had clients in the past that have gone, gosh, is my realtor going to find out that I've just got all these horrible marks on my credit? And the answer really should be no. The real important information gets communicated back, but it's always good to have your information looked at, by a professional loan officer before you go out and start looking around.
Yeah, because you don't want to get your heart set on something and not be able to qualify for it. That's bad news. So.
Yeah, exactly.
What documentation or information should a first-time home buyer have on hand when they do that initial call to the loan officer to get pre-qualified?
Great question, Tim. Basically, the most of the time when I do an initial consultation with a client, it's over the phone. Some people like to meet in person, but it really doesn't have to be a big formal process in most cases. If the client's structure is fairly straightforward, in terms of a couple W-2 jobs, we'll need living history over the past couple of years, so addresses that they've lived at, employment information over the past couple of years. One thing that some of the guys that I will interview will forget sometimes is their wife's birthday, which is a big no-no, right?
Yeah,
but,
it's bad news.
You never want to do that, yeah. So the wife's birthday, social security number, or the husband's if the other person that we're working with. And then just income and asset information. And it's always helpful to know also, if somebody's income is structured in, less than just a straightforward hourly or salary type situation, what their bonus or overtime or commission type income is broken out to. So having a year-to-date pay stub is really helpful, and knowing when, at least roughly month and year, when they started working at their current job, because sometimes different loan programs will disallow different pieces of that income if they have less than, for example, 2 years on the job, or 2 years of consistent income of anything other than that bonus income. Not always, but in some cases that can be an issue. So you always want to know that stuff up front.
Okay. So once a person, let's say somebody calls you, they do get pre-qualified, you choose a loan program for them. Does that pre-qualification qualify them for any loan type, or is there one specific loan type that you're pre-qualifying them for?
Well, it really depends on the borrower. I always like to kind of get that 500-foot level view up front, and that's one of the very first questions I ask people is, do you have any idea for what loan program that you'd like to apply for? And if not, then I'll ask them some more in-depth questions, such as, do you have any military experience? What area are you looking to buy in? Because that may be a situation where they might be a great candidate for a USDA loan, which is a zero-down program. And the rates are subsidized by the government, so they're nice and low for either one of those programs. But what I will do is once I have somebody's criteria down, I've got their application in my system, I'll go through and I'll analyze for what's going to be the best program for what they're looking to accomplish. And I usually try to streamline that for them rather than overwhelming them with too many details and too many options, because often it's a case of, this is just an absolute no-brainer. This is the program that's going to be the best thing for you.
Right. And that's where your knowledge as a loan officer comes in to play, where you just say, this is either the one loan program that you qualify for, or this is definitely the best one. That's where they rely on you to do that for them.
Right.
So once somebody is qualified, let's say they come into you, they say to you, I want to buy a single family residence, and then you pre-qualify them for that. Does that mean they're also pre-qualified for, say, like a 2-unit home or a condo or something other than a single family residence, just a 1-unit home?
That's a really good question. I actually get that one quite often. The pre-qualification or pre-approval, if we go to that step, which is running credit and running them through an automated underwriting engine, I should say when we go to that step, is really going to be based along their debt-to-income ratio in most cases. And the debt-to-income ratio can be impacted by a number of things. One, if you're buying in a condominium or a townhome scenario, you're going to have homeowners association dues. And even though that's going to offset a number of your monthly expenses that you'll have as a single-family homeowner, such as water, cable, power, stuff like that, those don't go into effect for your calculation on your debt-to-income ratio, but the homeowners association dues do. So it's absolutely a big factor on calculating those out. And then some programs, if you are buying a multi-unit situation where you can buy up to 4 units as a single or as a a residential loan, anything over that is considered commercial. There are some programs that will allow you to use some rental income if you're going to say occupy one of the units and rent out the other 3, or if you're just going to buy it as an investment property. There are different ways that income is calculated. So it's again really important to have a conversation with a knowledgeable loan officer to help you kind of drill down to what it is that's going to be used and what can't be used, to help you qualify for that home.
Great. So any final words of wisdom for those first-time home buyers out there looking to get pre-qualified?
Well, again, Tim, like the last time, I think just really having a good, open, honest conversation. Like going to the doctor, you just want to make sure you get everything out on the table. Every now and then I'll be interviewing somebody, and by the way, Tom, is this something that really is something we ought to have a conversation about? And often it's just they got it off their mind, and they feel okay, and that they went to kind of open things up to make sure that everything's great. But it's always good to make sure that you get those questions that are just kind of burning in your mind out of the way as early in the process as possible, because often those things you're worried about really aren't going to be an issue at the end of the day. So just having that conversation as early as possible, I think, is really kind of the biggest thing that I could encourage people to do.
Right, and just the full disclosure aspect of getting the home loan, because a lot of times there might be something that they didn't mention or maybe didn't know that was very important that comes out at the end, and you're like, oh, I didn't know about that, and then that kind of changes things. So you want to avoid those issues. Well, thanks a lot, Tom, for being with us today. Check out more about Tom at PesamirFinancial.com. I'll put his website link down in the YouTube description here. Also check out MyMortgageInsider.com for the latest real estate and mortgage news.